Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm looking at a Boros creatures deck, trying out a few of the new creatures from the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty set, as well as sticking to some of the old tried and tested Boros creature archetype that's done so well for me. So I didn't want to go too wild in this video because it is the end of the ladder today. It's recording this on the 28th of February, so um, didn't want to get too many losses in a row and push myself out of the ladder rankings. Today we'll do something slightly more wild next time, but just have a quick run through the list here. So the new cards out of Kamigawa are this one, Rabbit Battery. One drop, 1/1 with haste, can then attach itself to another creature to give that creature +1/+1 on haste. Really nice in aggressive creature decks. Excellent one drop to pick up, especially when we've got a whole host of 2 drops here. Also running Lizard Blades, which is similarly a new reconfigure creature from Kamigawa. This one is 1 and a red, so it's a 1/1 double strike and can equip to give a creature double strike for 2, or reconfigure, sorry, it's subtly different from equip. We're also running one Rizona Asari Commander, which is has haste 3/3. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put an indestructible counter on it. And then when we get dealt damage, we have to take that counter off. So basically, once you manage to get in with this creature, it gains indestructible, which basically makes it slightly harder to remove for the opponent because um, they, can't just shoot it with a burn spell. But obviously, we take damage quite a lot because we're swinging with all of our creatures most of the time in an aggro deck. We're not often keeping too many blockers back, but it does come into play sometimes. And we're trying a one-off here just because it's legendary. Um, and then outside of that, I don't think we've got any more Kamigawa cards. We've got a couple of weird alchemy cards. I'm running one expedition supplier because we are running so many humans in the deck, and one of these can be quite a funny quite a funny aggro card to run, to be honest. Running Guardian Evangel, I've played it in a couple of my decks now, but basically this ability to drop down on turn 2 as a 3/1 or to come in later and tap down the whole opponent's board is fantastic. Rahilda, no surprise, absolute, I'd say one of the best 2 drops in Alchemy. We're also running Inquisitor Captain because, again, it's largely a creature deck. We have got 2 Showdown of the Scalds up here. And 2 Angel Fire Ignitions, but otherwise everything in the deck falls into the Inquisitor Captain mana value 3 or less creature criteria. So, we're pretty much always hitting Inquisitor Captain no matter how big our board's gotten. 4 Brutal Cathars and 2 Skyclave Apparitions for removal. So I've landed on 6 as kind of being the right number of these creatures. I've got more Brutal Cathars than Skyclaves just to get rid of those 5, 6, 7 drops that we're seeing a few of at the moment. 1 copy of Adeline, which is legendary but brilliant for 1 copy. 3 Reckless Stormseekers because it pairs fantastically with Inquisitor Captain. I've used this pair before in my Humans deck. 2 Angel Fire Ignitions, which is our kind of win con in the deck almost. Gets us over the top, gets lifelink back in particular racing scenarios. I find it's decent against things like the life gain decks because we don't have too much like direct removal outside of our creatures here. This one can help just get us over the top of those creatures and win races against other green decks and things like that. Got 2 Intrepid Adversaries to pump team later on. It's just a nice 2-drop for keeping the flow going when you're already past turn 2. And as I already talked about, I've got Showdown of the Scalds here to sort of keep us going once we run out of cards. This is a nice refuel card, and also the extra 1/1 counters when you've got this many cards around. Particularly nice sort of synergy with a Guardian Evangel, which you can get 4 casts out of 1 draw to put all those extra counters on something and get swinging. So had some pretty decent success with it so far, so I'm going to run into some more games with it today and just show you how it goes. I think after this deck and the ladder reset, we'll probably try something with a few more Kamigawa cards in just to be a bit more interesting. But for now, this is a solid climber, and it's just going to make sure that we stay in the top 500 Mythic to finish the month. Okay, let's see if we can get a bit of a better start this time. So I haven't got a 2-drop, but not too bad on the play, hopefully. Nearly started with the wrong colour mana though. I don't know if saying mana is the wrong thing, the right thing in Magic. I always say it just because it's like a generic term in games. I always say mana for what you get off of tapping land. I think mana's right, isn't it? Don't know. Anyway, yeah, still no 2-drop. The thing is, I don't. We're not going to be able to play the apparition either way. So unless I draw another white land, but I'd rather get this tapped land down now. Otherwise, it's going to come in tap later and ruin potentially my 4-drop in captain. Okay, put the commander down and swing. Get an indestructible counter on that. I'm yet to see how useful getting the indestructible counter on the commander is. I think it's good, but I still can't really tell. Get the captain down. I think I'll put the Evangel here just so I can tap down this 1/1 and keep swinging. Thing is, we can apparition away the wedding announcement if we have to, which is nice. So they've only got a meat hook for 2 at the moment, so we'd actually keep quite a good board even if they meat hook. It's always, against the Orzhov decks, I think the real challenge for these sort of aggressive creature decks is to keep ahead of the meat hook curve with your toughness, which can be tricky, especially with this deck because it's pretty much once they get above 3, there's no real way to increase the toughness of our creatures, so it's more about holding some back in the hand. So I think after this turn we'll probably be powering up the land rather than dropping more creatures until we get that first board wipe out of the opponent. Obviously, Blood on the Snow isn't going to kill Rezona at the moment, so yeah, they're going to use another removal on Rezona, which is what I would expect, and then I expect a board wipe next turn. So I think we'll power up the land here rather than putting any more creatures down. And then swing team. They can block the rabbit or the Evangel. It doesn't matter too much. We're still getting in for a lot of damage. So getting in for probably 8. Yeah, because they have to block one. They have to block a 3-power creature here, unless they kill one. That would be an odd choice, given that they can block the Evangel and kill it. Deadly Dispute anyway. Yeah, down to 2. So they'd gain 4 life off a meat hook here. Put them on 6. We can hit back for 4 with them with the man land. Although they are going to get a 2/2 off of the wedding announcement. So maybe the captain would be the best way to go. Okay, so apparition can only really get rid of the festivity because it's non-token, so we can't get rid of the blocker. We haven't got anything with haste apart from the land, but they can kill the land with this 2/2, so that isn't the best really for us. So I think the best thing to do here is play a captain, see if we can pull a Cathar or something like that. Okay, got blades or a Hilda. I think I'll go for lizard blades here and then configure it onto the captain as a sort of board wipe insurance. So I'll at least have one creature, even if he manages to kill the captain in some way. Also, it's a representing lethal if we can get rid of the 2/2, which might worry them. Not too worried about Sorin, I think, at the moment. The one thing is, it could be worth using the apparition to get rid of the wedding festivity, but so we could put the battery in and make this a 4/4, which just means that they can chump with the 2/2 though. I think if we do that, we end up with, we could play the apparition and the Cathar. The Adeline, I mean. Um, but then that will just give them a 1 power creature to block with this for 2 life. So I think what I'll probably do is Apparition. I'm not worried about Sorin because they can kill it for another vampire next turn. When you're this low life, I think plussing Sorin is just too dangerous unless you're hitting lands. So I could equip the Apparition, swing with it, so it's a 3/3, and then they can either take the 3. Yeah, I think we'll do that because they have to block this creature, so they can't double block this one. Obviously, if they've got like a destroy spell for the Apparition, it's not great because they get a 3/3 back off the wedding announcement, but at least our guy has double strike, so we're not losing the captain here. And they can Rite of Oblivion next turn with any blockers they've got remaining, or with their treasure if they want. So I think this is the best way to keep pressure on. Okay. Just sort of durdling for a turn, so at least we know we're killing off. Okay, fair enough. Going to put themselves down to 2. I guess trying to keep blockers around or things to use for the Rite of Oblivion. Next turn we can hasten and Adeline if we have nothing else to do. The fact that they're putting more creatures down implies that they do not have a board wipe presently. I feel like they'd use the Blood on the Snow if they had one, so that's good. That's the one thing that we're not going to fare that well against at the moment. Are they targeting the Lizard Blades? Yeah. Sort of preparing for a board wipe again. See if they plus or minus Sorin here. I'm expecting a minus, but they could be brave and go for a plus. On the chance that they might not be able to keep the card. I would say if they think it's going to put them below 2, they wouldn't take it. So 3 drop or above, they probably wouldn't take. Or maybe they would. Now they've got an extra blocker that we can't get past. Just so we do have a man land that's 2 creatures there. Clearly not an easy decision because they are thinking about it. So yeah, they've not taken it. That implies to me that what's on top of their deck is 3 drop. I think maybe the best thing here is to just put both creatures in and not attack. If I power up the land, at the moment I can't play the Rahilda, so I think putting in both creatures is the best thing to do. Obviously we're opening ourselves up to board wipes, but given that the top card is probably a 3 drop, potentially a 2 drop, if I attack with this they can just, there's no gain, so even with the 1/1 off Adeline. So I've just got to hope that they do not have a board wipe. Because a Blood on the Snow into a minusing of Sorin would be pretty disastrous for us here. Okay. That could have been what they had on top, but then I don't know why they would think so long about not killing themselves. So it's probably already in hand. What I'm learning here is that we really need the Angel Fire Ignition to put on Adeline. Give them something to deal with. That's not the end of the world, because at least we can power up team before swinging here. If they've got a destroy for this adversary, though, it's all over. Given that they are actually sticking here, and we know that they've got some kind of 2 or 3 drop in their hand, is really worrying. So I'm really thinking that this could be a Infernal Grasp, which if it is, and we attack, it's probably the biggest disaster ever. On the other hand, if we don't attack, it could be over anyway. Let's hope it's a Deadly Dispute in their hand. Ah, good game. On to the next one. Okay, next game. Gotta try and get a win in here. Okay, we've only got 3 drops. I don't think that's good enough for on the play, so we mulligan. Okay, that's not got any 3 drops now, but at least we have a 1 and a 2 drop, and we've got a land to ditch. Okay, we have actually managed to take an Angel Fire Ignition, which is nice, because this is often what we're missing in trying to get over the line, especially against bigger creatures for green decks and things. This is a pain. They actually did, yeah. Wondering whether to attack with this, not sure. So obviously I could put a 1/1 on the +1/+1 on the Lizard Blades, have a 2/2 and attack, and put in a Rahilda. I don't think they would block with the Pack Song Pup, but I could be wrong. We have got our backup Lizard Blades, so I think that's what I'll do first. Try and get in for 4. Also, they don't know if we've got a combat trick because we're holding back, so. And then we're in a pretty nice position for an Angel Fire next turn. Or if we draw a land, potentially Lizard Blades, but yeah. Nice thing about Angel Fire is it gives vigilance as well, so okay. Cathar is also a decent option for us on the Pack Song Pup, but I think to be honest, this is probably the best option here. Because they could take 8, we gain 8. Or they can jump. They're still going to take 6 if they block like that, because it gives trample. And they've taken away their wolf that's buffing pup, so I guess they have another wolf to play, but let's see. I mean, we have 6 first striking block ability here, which often, weirdly, even at this level, I'd say people miss. Because the opponent can't attack because of the vigilance of Angel Fire. Okay, looks like a Blizzard Brawl maybe. The way they're touching their creatures and touching ours, and they've got 1 green mana open. Very interesting choice to go for the Rahilda there, in my opinion. Because they still can't attack with the pup now. Can attack with the troll, of course, because it's got indestructible. But we got plenty of life, so I think the thing here for us is really to just outscale them. So that's what I'm going to do. We don't want to give them the chance to have another Blizzard Brawl next time. So they're going to, yeah. They've got to block with something. And then potentially Blizzard Brawl post-combat with Pack Song Pup after not attacking with it just to kill our one creature, which puts us in a good place with the Cathar left in hand. So they have managed to get a wolf down to give themselves that option. So let's see. Okay, now tapped out. Okay, just about managed to stay ahead of mono green there, but it is a tight one sometimes, particularly with the removal and our creatures being a bit small. And if we don't draw Inquisitor Captain to really, flood out the board and go wide. But yeah, just about showing how we can stay over the top, particularly with going first there. I think, again, if the opponent goes first, it's a slightly different game, but just about pull through. Okay, next game. Got not perfect starting hand here, but on the draw it's all right. That's the best I can say for it. What would be nice is to draw a 1-drop here. Sadly not. Looks like we're against some kind of lowish curve deck, which actually suits me. It's the kind of thing that we do quite well against, just given the power level of this deck early on. Interesting. So it's probably Anvil Cult, I believe it's called. The artifact version of Cat Oven going on here. Okay, so Blood Tithe Harvester is obviously a bit painful against us. I think the best thing to do is to remove that with Apparition so they can't get it back. I don't like using Cathar against things that have enter the battlefield abilities if I can, because it just means if they can remove them, they will. I don't want to attack here for obvious reasons. We'll just first strike the guards with the Lizard Blades and they'll use it to kill the Lizard Blades. Okay, more blood. So this is definitely a artifact-based deck here. I think we'll just get the captain in. Just a Rahilda there, not the most useful, but I don't think we're going to be playing against too many board wipes, so going wide is definitely a good option here. Okay, that could be our Lizard Blades dead here. Looks like the opponent's digging for what they need here at the engine of their deck, which I think is missing. So we've got a little window to start swinging. So I think I would like to get going, even though I'd rather get this card down first. I think getting rid of the Angie and starting to swing is what we need to do here. Just get some damage in. It's an interesting choice to me because I would have thought they've got a use for all this blood. If they're generating so much of it, but utilizing it just to do a little bit of damage seems odd. But I guess the engine and the anvil is probably it's just the that's probably got enough for it, I suppose. I think it'll also be the Dragonfire Reactor or whatever it's called, the one where when an artifact enters, it puts a counter on and then it builds up and does damage to a player and creature at the end. I guess because it's not entering, they're less worried about it. So perhaps that's the win con they've got. Okay. That was unexpected, but a nice turn from the opponent. I think we have to get rid of the Angie again, even though obviously targeted tokens with Brutal Cathar is so nice, but this blocker being in the way is just going to be too much of a pain for us. Yeah, the desire not to let Rahilda through is too strong anyway. There's the anvil, Oni Cult Anvil, the one I've been trying to describe for the past few minutes and failing miserably. So now the opponent actually has their sort of engine out, and with a blood artist as well, we should be worried. So okay, what we can do here is add a line and battery and swing with everything, which I think is the best move. We can always be triggering expedition supplier with the 1/1s off Adeline later. I'm more keen to start getting some damage in here, since the opponent doesn't particularly want to block with it, their blood artist. So they could block the Adeline to save 6, but we're still getting in for 7/8. Unless, of course, they're running a shock to deal with the Cathar. Seems like they've always got the perfect answers for us, to be honest. So I'm guessing they'll they'll block the Rahilda. Yeah. That was less than ideal turn, but at least the opponent's only got 1 card in hand now, so there can't be too many surprises left. Thankfully, we still managed to hold on to 12 life, so opponent could actually almost burn us out with blood with Angie, but they don't seem to be going for that tactic, since they're using their blood with the anvil rather than this treasure, which I don't think they need. Okay, we can put the supplier in to create a utility knife. The problem is the only thing we can really attack with profitably is Adeline, but they've got endless chumps for that now. I'm 90% sure the opponent is not gonna block with Angie, but let's see. If they do, then we might have a chance. If not, I mean, we can take almost all of our life just off this next time. No. So the only real saving grace again here will be Angel Fire Ignition. I think if we even get another turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, that's it. That's all of our life done into blood. Good game. We don't need to waste time, opponent. Thank you. I just think that they're missing one of the points of their deck there. That feels like a net deck play because they're not playing it how it should be played, burning us out with the Angie. But never mind. Okay, let's see if we can stop the slide down the ladder here. Okay, getting to go first. Got 2 Angel Fire Ignitions, which is going to happen sometimes since I've put the 4th copy in the deck, but it's actually not the end of the world because we seem to be facing so many creature decks that this way of getting over the top of them and life linking back. Okay, Evolving Wilds implies to me it's a mill deck, so let's hope we can beat them down before that happens to us. See if the opponent's got the crab. Either way, I think we'll probably be doing Stormseeker next because we can hit for 3. Okay, no crab. Maybe a Shawari. Yeah, there we go. Still, we haven't been milled for anything, and we've still got an attacker. At the moment, we're lacking a second white land though to play out any more creatures, so we'll be doing Angel Fire on the Rabbit Battery if this is where we end up. Which, into a deck that does play a fair bit of bounce, isn't ideal. But I mean, the thing is, even if something isn't ideal with this kind of deck, you have to keep the pressure on. So, okay, we have managed to draw a white land for the Adeline. And obviously we can... I should have attached the Rabbit Battery onto the Adeline, to be honest, but already gone past that point. It looks like we're going to get bounced anyway. So, didn't get punished for my mistake by missing out on a bunch of damage. By a bunch, I mean it would be one damage. Okay, we still haven't been milled, so at the moment the opponent is just buying time. Now, obviously, when they get to a certain mass of land, they can always copy a mill spell, which is painful against us because we don't. If it's Tasha's Hideous Laughter, we don't have a lot of um, high mana value cards, so they get through a lot of our deck with that. But it feels like they've had a reasonably slow start as well as us, so still anyone's game at the moment. Okay, so we have a chance to definitely play a card here, so I think we'll take the chance to play the captain, because we can always give it haste, or whatever we find haste with the rabbit battery. So thankfully we can get both our creatures haste here, and actually start to get some damage in, so we'll hit for 7. We're likely to get milled heavily, because in this turn, but hopefully they can't mill out 47 cards in one turn, which puts us in a good spot. Okay, just half the library. So that should be a win for us because we can give the Adeline haste and finish them off. Yeah, bit of a sort of slow start for us, but also a slow start for the mill deck there. And to be honest, we always fare quite well against them, just because it is a fast beatdown once we can stick any kind of board presence. So yeah, good example there. Okay, next game. Only got 2 lands, but quite a fast start, so we'll give it a go on the draw. Still only 2 lands. We do have 3 opportunities to draw a 3rd land, at least being on the draw, so let's see if we get there. There we go. Okay, so play this out, swing with the rabbit battery. So the opponent's holding priority there, which implies probably a Fateful Absence, but they could also have a Jawari. I think we've got to try playing out the Rahilda and see where we get. Probably Fateful Absence. Which implies, I mean, Fateful Absence in a blue-white deck often implies Divine Purge just following it up, to be honest. So I like to try and use these tokens as soon as possible, especially if the opponent's holding open their mana, because they can't block that as a move, and then it's a bit of a waste of time to counter these. I mean, yeah, if they've got nothing else to do, exactly. So they've wasted a counter or a land on a 1-drop there. So it's actually a win in my eyes, and we've now got more cards in hand than the control deck. Obviously, there could be another Jawari here. Could be a Doomscar foretold. Probably is a Doomscar. No one's really playing Auron's Epiphany anymore. So I think the best thing to do is play a Lizard Blades because they can't Jawari it, and then configure configure the Rabbit Battery onto Lizard Blades and swing. So we get in for 4, and if they do wipe the board, we still keep the Rabbit Battery. But want to keep it as unprofitable for them to wipe the board as possible, which playing Inquisitor Captain is pretty much the opposite of that. I guess it could be a Saw It Coming as the other foretold card that does sometimes get played, which it does feel a bit like we're being baited into putting more cards on the board here with the opponent tapping out. Inquisitor Captain is tempting, just because we now have enough stuff in our hand that we can follow up afterwards if we do get board wiped. But I'm also tempted to Lizard Blades and attack again for 4. Putting the opponent on 11 isn't that strong though. I think we'll Captain, force them to use the board wipe, and go from there. There we go. So there's the Doomscar. I think what I'll do now is Captain again. See if we get countered. Feels like we might. Yeah, okay. Opponent's down to 2 cards in hand though. got one land open this time, so if we can hit for 5, that's very nice. Particularly as Lizard Blades would give us lethal next time, and as the opponent didn't interact that time, unless they've drawn it. Okay, they've got to divide by 0 now, which they will use, I believe. Now they've played 2 cards, so it will be daytime as well. Obviously we can remove the Leer with the Brutal Cathar, which is almost certainly worth doing. This is too much card advantage for the opponent. They're going to be able to draw 3 off teachings here, which is slightly irritating, but don't often find that we've got that many more cards in hand than a control opponent. Managed to get their Leer back, which has opened up more Fateful Absences for them. They can even replay teachings, yeah. Slightly bad turn of events here that we've stopped drawing any land whatsoever. I think. So Skyclave obviously can't hit Leer. It could be that Scouds is our best move here, just try and get as much value as we can whilst it's not getting countered. Obviously it does show the opponent what we can do next time, so I think that advantage isn't that great for them, but I mean, yeah, rather nasty that we've given a control deck this much time to catch up. Obviously we have to take the Leer just because they've got all the Fateful Absences in their graveyard, so they immediately get it back if we don't. I think I'll then put the Adeline in. And then do not attack. I mean, we've still got 6 cards in hand against 6 cards in hand, but with 2 4/4s, that's a clock against us, and also just huge blockers for the opponent to sit behind whilst they find whatever their actual normal end game would be. I'm sure Amiria's call is not the only one. Okay, so we have got the trigger from Scouds this turn, and we've got 6 mana to play with. So, and it is night time. So the Brute can already attack reasonably profitably. Problem is we're definitely playing into counters here because I've got 11 mana open. Could even be a Hullbreaker Horror, at which point it's game over anyway. I think as it's night time, I'll play out the Stormseeker, or try to first. Our opponent is holding some priority there. This feels like a Hullbreaker Horror to me. If I Angel Fire Cathar, and then put a 1/1 on this, I think this is our best play, but it feels bad. It feels bad, I gotta say. The fact that they've not responded to any of that. I'm not even going to attack with the Brute because I'm not sure that that's what's happening. Yeah. At least we can force the opponent to have some removal for a Cathar here. They are digging for. I mean, they've actually gone through 2 Fateful Absences already. So let's see if they have another one. No. Okay, so they do only have Angels, which means nothing's indestructible. So we could. So we have 7 lands. So Angel Fire is obviously very appealing. That uses up 4. leaving us a 3. We could tap down their board and win. Yeah, what am I doing? I have a lethal here, which I very nearly missed. I think we're lucky to get out of this one with lethal, but you know, that is why this card is in the deck. GG. Oh, being able to not get the Cathar move when it's got a Leer and a Hullbreaker under it is sick. Oh, very lucky to get out of that feels, but just shows that there are outs in this deck even when all hope is lost. Okay, very quick look at the stats of the deck on untapped.gg. So I haven't played quite as many games as I have with some of the others that I've shown, but a fair enough sample here. So out of 17 matches, we've managed a 76% win rate, again, all through Mythic. You can see I've kind of bounced around in the 500s all the way up to about 100 and back up somewhere in 300 at the end with this deck. 85% on the play, as you'd expect, higher on the play with an aggro deck, 71% on the draw. The ones that we struggled against, Rakdos, that was a sacrifice artifact deck. Yeah, I mean, it's tricky when there's loads of blockers and we don't have Angel Fire Ignition. And then similarly, Orzhov, loads of blockers, no Angel Fire Ignition. So what I did, as I said during the video, is add more Angel Fire Ignition to the deck to try and get over that, and we did start getting wins against those as well. So overall, pretty solid deck. I've had a lot of fun with it. It closes games down quickly, so it's a good ladder climber. And yeah, I think overall, I don't know whether I prefer Boros at the moment or Naya humans. Naya does give that kind of slightly higher top end with Sagada and with Halana and Alina, but I think the Boros aggression with the new Kamigawa reconfigure cards and that protection against board wiping really is quite nice. So I might have to sort of see where we can go and develop this deck a little bit further. Potentially try a non-Inquisitor Captain version of the deck. I mean, ones that are just a bit too creature heavy, they always sort of push me in that direction, but it'd be interesting to try a version that has a few more instant sorceries in there as well. So yeah, if you like the video, please do give me a like and subscribe, and I'll have more for you soon. See you soon. Bye.